Nobody lasted more than 3 weeks at Volta. That was the whisper that circled the lobby of the Solon Tower every single morning, the way bad weather circles a coast before it hits. The building sat in the heart of Lower Manhattan, 37 floors of glass and ambition, smelling like fresh print and something colder underneath. The kind of place where people wore their titles like armor because without them they felt like absolutely nothing. Floor 32 belonged to Volta Creative, the most talked about brand identity firm in the city. Not because of their clients, which were legendary. Not because of their work, which was surgical. Because of the man who ran it. Zane Okafor. 29. Built Volta from a single laptop and a storage unit in Brooklyn at age 23. He was standing near the industrial steel shelving that lined the back wall of his studio, arms crossed, staring at a campaign board like it had personally disrespected him. He wore a vintage black zip-up racing jacket over a plain white fitted crew neck, charcoal cargo trousers with minimal utility pockets, and clean white low-top leather sneakers that somehow still looked effortlessly fresh. His silver chain sat just above his collar. No rings. No extra noise. He did not perform wealth. He just had it, and it sat on him like it had always been there. His jaw was tight. It was always tight. The energy inside Volta on any given Tuesday felt like the moment before a storm decides what it wants to do. Boards covered every wall. Color studies. Campaign drafts. Client decks half-finished and bleeding into each other. The floor-to-ceiling windows behind Zane's desk showed the whole city spread out below like it was waiting for him to approve it. 2 people at the front desk were whispering. "She doesn't know what she walked into," the first one said. "She doesn't look like she cares," the second one said. The elevator opened. Nova Reyes stepped out. 22. Just back in New York after 14 months in Porto helping her late father sort through his unfinished documentary archive before the studio lease expired. She had not cried at his funeral. She had organized every hard drive, cataloged every tape, and booked a one-way flight home because grief was not going to pay rent and standing still was not something she knew how to do. She wore a faded sage green oversized hoodie tucked halfway into wide-leg ecru linen trousers, with chunky tan suede loafers and a beat-up olive canvas tote bag that had a broken strap she had fixed with a carabiner clip. Her curly hair was pulled into a loose bun with 2 pencils stuck through it like she had stopped mid-thought and simply kept moving. Small gold hoops. No foundation. No performance. She looked at the 2 people by the front desk. "That him?" she asked, nodding toward the studio where Zane stood. The first desk person blinked. "You're not scared?" Nova tilted her head. "Of what?" She walked toward the studio before either of them answered. The door was open. She knocked on the frame anyway because she had manners, not because she was asking permission. Zane did not turn around. "Close the door," he said. She did. The Lumen deck. "Someone moved my annotations." He was pointing at the board, finger tracing a layout with focused fury that most people would have wilted under. Nova scanned the room. The desk. The rolling cart to the left. The annotated printout sitting face down under a matte black pen cup like someone set it down in a hurry and forgot it existed. She walked over. Picked it up. Placed it directly on the board clip where the gap was. Zane looked at it. Then at her. "How did you know that's where it went?" "The color tag on the corner matched the board grid," she said. "Also your whole system is left to right chronological." It was obvious. Something moved behind his eyes. Not softness. More like the face a person makes when a lock opens that they forgot they had set. "Sit down. I'll stand until I know what we're actually doing today," she said. The silence that followed was long and real and entirely his to fill. For the first time in a very long time, Zane Okafor looked like he did not have an immediate answer. He turned back to the board. But his shoulders dropped. Just barely. And Nova noticed. Day 4. Nova had figured out 3 things about Zane Okafor. He took his coffee black and forgot it on his desk until it went cold. He rearranged the entire campaign board every morning at 7 a.m. before anyone else arrived, alone, like it was something private. And he never talked about the framed photo on the top shelf of the steel rack. The one turned slightly away from the room. A younger version of him. Someone standing next to him. Both of them actually smiling. She did not ask about it. Not yet. They were working late on the Oran campaign, a wellness brand that wanted to feel raw and honest but kept asking for everything to be softer, brighter, less real. They want vulnerable but they don't want the actual mess, Nova said, capping her marker, staring at the board. That's every client, Zane said without looking up from his laptop. That's not a brand strategy. That's a personality disorder. He stopped typing. Then, very quietly, he made a sound that was almost a laugh. Not quite. Just the edge of one. Like it surprised him more than it surprised her. Nova looked at him sideways. Was that a laugh? No. It was almost one. Drop it. She smiled at the board and dropped it. By 9:30 the studio was empty except for them. The city outside the windows was doing what the city always does, glowing and indifferent and relentless. Nova was sitting cross-legged on the floor with her linen trousers slightly wrinkled now, her sage hoodie sleeves pushed up to her elbows, sketching margin notes on a printout. Zane was in his chair, jacket off, silver chain catching the light, looking at her work from across the room like he was trying to figure out what category she fit into and failing. "You worked for your dad," he said. Not a question. She looked up. "Yeah. What happened to the archive?" "It's with a museum now. They're building an exhibition around it." She paused. "He never finished the last film." "I finished cataloging it." "That's as close as it gets." Silence. "Why didn't you finish it yourself?" Zane asked. "Because it wasn't mine to finish." She looked at him steady. "Some things belong to the person who started them even when they're gone." Something crossed his face. Fast. Like a door opening and then immediately closing. "You should go," he said. "It's late." "You're still here." "I live here." "That's not healthy." Nobody asked. Nova stood up, gathered her tote, fixed the carabiner on the strap out of habit. She stopped at the door. "The photo on the shelf," she said. "You don't have to tell me. But you should stop turning it away from the room. Whatever it is, it already happened. Hiding it doesn't change the timeline." She left before he could answer. Zane sat in the empty studio for a long time after that. Then he walked to the shelf. Looked at the photo for the first time in 8 months. His brother. 2 years gone. A car crash on a Tuesday night that nobody saw coming. He did not move the photo. But he stopped looking away from it. He picked up his phone and typed one message to an unsaved number. It said, "We need to talk about the Volta acquisition offer. I made a decision." He hit send. 3 floors down, in a building across the street, a phone lit up. The person who read that message smiled slowly. It was not a kind smile. Day 9. The Oran campaign launched early and it was everywhere. Subway ads. Digital billboards. The kind of quiet saturation that makes a brand feel like it was always there. Nova had rewritten the core visual brief in one sitting at 2 in the morning and Zane had approved it without changing a single word, which everyone at Volta said had never happened before with anyone. She was eating lunch at her desk, a folded piece of parchment paper full of falafel and pickled onions that she had grabbed from the cart outside, when Zane walked in from a call looking like someone had just handed him bad weather. "Ren pitched the acquisition to the board," he said. Nova looked up. "Run. Your operations led Ren?" The one who has been with me since year one, yes. I thought you said no to the acquisition. I said I was deciding. His jaw was tight in the other way now. The way that meant something had been broken, not just bent. He didn't wait. He went to them directly with internal projections. Numbers only I had access to. And one other person. Nova set down her food. Who else had those numbers? He says you gave them to him. The room went completely still. She stood up slowly. She wore a terracotta ribbed fitted long sleeve tucked into high-waisted dark denim straight-leg jeans, white low-top canvas shoes, her curly hair down today, loose around her face, gold hoops catching the fluorescent light. She looked calm in the way that people who have already survived something terrible learn to look calm. Say that again, she said. He sent an email. Your name on it. Your work address. I didn't send anything to Ren. I have never once spoken to Ren about numbers. He has a document trail. Then someone built one. Her voice did not shake. Zane. I did not do this. He looked at her for a long time. Zane in his black fitted turtleneck and dark olive straight trousers and matte black boots, looking like someone who had been here before and did not survive it cleanly the last time. He had trusted his brother with a business decision once. His brother had told someone else. And then his brother died before Zane ever said out loud that he forgave him. He had never told anyone that. Except Nova. At 11:30 on a Tuesday night, 6 days ago, over cold coffee and a campaign board that needed one more revision. I don't know what to believe, he said. Yes you do, she said quietly. You just don't want to be wrong again. He walked out of the studio. She sat back down. She picked up her falafel. Her hands were steady because she had learned a long time ago that falling apart in front of people who were not sure about you was the one thing you absolutely could not afford to do. But her eyes were bright in the way they get when something you hoped for starts to look like it might disappear. Down the hall, Ren sat at his desk, perfectly unbothered, responding to an email from the acquisition firm. Subject line, Phase 2 confirmed. Nova found the proof herself. She spent 47 minutes in the server archive that Volta's previous IT lead had never fully locked down, the one everyone knew existed and nobody talked about, and she pulled the original send log on the flagged email. The metadata did not match her device. The document had been edited from a different IP at 3 in the morning on a night she could prove she was across town at a 24-hour print shop finishing a personal project, timestamp on the receipt and everything. She printed it. Walked to Ren's desk. Set it face up in front of him. He looked at it. Then at her. His expression did not change immediately, and that was actually more revealing than if it had. You're going to want to get ahead of this, she said. Because I already sent a copy to legal. Ren pushed back from his desk. He had the specific energy of someone who had spent years being the most loyal person in the room and then decided one day that loyalty had a price cap. He was never going to scale it properly, Ren said. Volta could be 3 times the size. The acquisition was good for everyone. It wasn't yours to decide. Someone had to. By framing me. He said nothing. She picked the paper back up and left. Zane was on the roof. The access door was supposed to be locked but had been broken for 2 years and everyone on 32 knew it. He was standing at the edge of the railing in the wind, jacket back on, hands in his pockets, looking at the city the way people look at things they built and are not sure they deserve. Nova pushed the door open. Her hair was everywhere from the wind immediately. She did not fix it. She held out the printout. He read it. She watched his face go through something complicated and quiet. You could have just left, he said. Taken the exit. This wasn't your problem. You believed me, she said. For about 4 minutes before you walked out, you believed me. I saw it. She looked at him straight. I don't leave when people almost get it right. He looked at her for a long time. The city below them was doing its thing, loud and bright and completely indifferent to whatever was happening on this roof between these two people. "I'm shutting down the acquisition," he said. "Ren is gone. And I'm going to restructure the whole leadership layer." He paused. "I need someone I can actually trust in that circle." "You're not asking me." "I'm not asking anyone. I'm telling you what I'm building." "That's the same thing." "Maybe." The wind moved between them. Nova looked at the city below. She thought about her father's archive. About 14 months of sorting other people's unfinished work. About how she came back to New York not because she was ready but because waiting to be ready was its own kind of loss. "My lease ends in 3 weeks," she said. "I was going to go back to Porto. Finish something my dad started. A short film. Just one." Zane looked at her sideways. "And now?" he asked. She did not answer right away. The city answered for her, or at least that's what it felt like, all that noise and light pressing up from below like a pulse. Inside the building, 3 floors down, an email notification landed in Zane's inbox. Subject line: Volta acquisition, final offer expires 72 hours. He did not know yet. But someone had already decided to accept it on his behalf. The email had gone out at 2 a.m. with Zane's digital signature. The kind that gets attached automatically when someone with the right access uses the right device. It had confirmed acceptance of the acquisition. It had been sent from a secondary account linked to Volta's admin portal. An account Ren had created years ago as a backup and never disclosed on his way out. By 8 a.m. the acquisition firm had already issued a press announcement. By 8:47 a.m. the Volta team was reading it on their phones in the elevator. Zane found out from his lawyer at 9:02. Nova found out from Zane at 9:06, standing in the studio doorway, watching his expression do something she had never seen it do before. Not anger. Heavier than anger. The specific weight of watching something you built from nothing get taken in the time it took to sleep. "Can it be reversed?" she asked. "My lawyer says maybe. If we move in the next 4 hours and we have proof of unauthorized access. I have the server logs from last night. I kept a copy of everything I pulled." He looked at her. "You kept it." "I kept everything." She was already opening her tote, pulling out a folded USB drive tucked behind the broken carabiner. "I had a feeling Ren wasn't finished." Zane took the drive. He stood there for a moment holding it and looking at her like she was a problem he had not been given the right equation for and had stopped trying to solve with logic. "Why?" he asked. "Why what? Why are you still here? You had an exit. 3 of them. You could have been gone." Nova looked around the studio. The boards. The campaign drafts. The cold coffee on his desk that she had started covering with a small ceramic lid she brought from home on day 6 so it would stay warm at least a little longer. The photo on the shelf that was now facing the room. "Because I don't build things halfway," she said. "That's just not how I'm wired." Zane's jaw moved. Something behind his eyes finally stopped running from wherever it had been running to since they met. "The Porto film," he said. "Your dad's. What about it? Go finish it. Take the time you need." She looked at him. "Zane. I mean it. Volta will still be here. Legal will handle the next 4 hours. Go finish the thing that matters. You need me here. I need you to stop carrying other people's unfinished work before you carry mine." He said it quietly. "No performance. Just real. Go. Come back when it's done." Nova stood very still. This was the first time in 14 months that anyone had told her to put herself first and meant it without wanting something back. Her eyes went bright again. The same way as before. But different now. She picked up her tote. Fixed the carabiner out of habit. walked to the door. She stopped. "The coffee lid is in the third drawer," she said. "Use it." She left. Zane stood alone in the studio. He plugged in the USB drive. Called his lawyer. Spent the next 4 hours taking back what was his. He got it back. Every bit of it. 3 weeks later a short film appeared on a small documentary platform under the title, What My Father Left Unfinished, Finished. The director credit read, Nova Reyes. The acknowledgement at the end read, For the ones who told me to go. Zane watched it alone in the studio at 11:30 at night over cold coffee he forgot to cover. He watched it twice. Then he sent one message. It said, "When you're back, there's a seat at the table. No title. No pressure. Just build something with me." The reply came at midnight exactly. It said, "I'm already on the train." The end.